Hello, and in this Meet My Network interview, I'm going to be chatting with Simon Crowther, who also, for transparency, is my business partner in Tamar Healthcare and Care Skilled Healthcare. I'm really looking forward to doing this because Simon is Mr. Healthcare himself. There's not anything he doesn't know about healthcare and the care industry. And if you're in the sector, it really is a must-watch video, and I'm sure you're really going to enjoy it. And even if you're not in healthcare but want to know more about healthcare, it's definitely worth a watch. So let's get right into the video. Good afternoon, Simon, from sunny Lisbon in Portugal. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Nick. Thanks for having me on. Greetings from not so sunny Manchester.
Okay, there you go. So the first question is really, I describe you as Mr. Healthcare, and you're obviously in healthcare, and you're also the owner and CEO of careskill.co.uk. So could you tell us about your journey to Mr. Healthcare and owner and CEO of careskill.co.uk?
Yeah, I mean, I started off doing engineering, ended up being an army officer doing engineering, then moved into the financial services sector, and I didn't like that. It wasn't really for me. Set up a care business, and this was in 2000. And myself and my brother, he was an accountant. He just qualified at Grant Thornton, so he had the finance side, I had the ops side, and we started a care business. We started it from scratch, and it was domiciliary care, so we provided care into people's homes. And we went from a standing start to 7 branches, contracting with 10 local authorities, employing about 600 staff, doing about 12,000 hours per week of care. And we did that in 3.5 years. And then we sold out to PLC. And we also had in that time 97 nursing beds, residential, across 2 sites as well. So you have 2 nursing homes. And then we exited. We got a good price for it and exited. And then I started doing spun out the internal training wing into a training company, and then that over time morphed into consultancy because of my experience of actually being an operator and having started a business, grown a business, and exited a business. I was getting questions for people to help start up care businesses, and we ended up becoming more of a consultancy, and that's what CareSkilled is now. We are a consultancy to the care sector.
Okay, cool. So yeah, tell us a bit more about what CareSkill does and how it helps people in the care sector, and more importantly, what type of business it helps. Does it help big corporations or small owner-run, care homes and home care businesses?
I would say that our largest client, is a $30+ billion global healthcare provider. So clearly, by any measure, that's a large business. So that's a large client. Our smallest client is a single person who wants to start up a business, might have about 10-20,000 to invest and wants to start a care business. So we cover all aspects, and we undertake anything to do with the health and social care sector. So we'll do routine things such as mock CQC or Care Inspectorate Wales or Care Inspectorate Scotland inspections. They're the regulators in the sector. Or mock Ofsted inspections. Ofsted regulates children's homes, so we do mock Ofsted inspections, right the way down to doing complete turnarounds. So we've just done a big turnaround now, where for a specialist renal unit, clinical provision that was rated inadequate by the Care Quality Commission. Our associates and team worked with that provider, turned it around, and in the space of a year, they were rated as good by the CQC. We just did a very big project on. We actually did the operational due diligence on a fundraising acquisition by CareTech PLC, who are the largest operator of children's homes in England. And we undertook mock Ofsted inspections at various sites for them to raise a £200 million investment. So that that's kind of a couple of examples of the things that we do. We also do standard. We help out with business development, people who might be doing just small businesses doing 200-300 hours of care. They don't know how to expand beyond that, and we provide coaching of how to how people who are very, very caring people and want to run a business, but perhaps not got that much commercial experience or business experience. So we'll teach them all about, the commercial side of it, of marketing, for recruitment, for sales, that all the kind of the parts of the business that they've never done before. So we produce various programs to help out with that.
Cool. That's pretty amazing. So you're a bit like me, that you've done both sides of the fence, right?
Exactly.
You've been the owner, and then you've been the trainer.
Yeah.
So which bit did you prefer? Which bits do you prefer the most, and why?
Well, the fact is, I'm still an owner, as you know, because I'm in partnership with you doing it. So I went back to being a provider. And they've both got the strengths and weaknesses. I really like the kind of cerebral challenge of doing a turnaround, of putting together a project team, of taking a business that's failing, but which can actually improve, looking at why it's failing. Either it's a regulation, or it's a leadership issue, or it's a structural issue, or it's a commercial issue, or generally a combination of everything. And I then put that team together, especially. So I draw on various team members from the selection of team that work with CareSkilled. We can put a multidisciplinary team together with different expertise. Some will be my ex-CQC inspectors, some will be clinicians, some will be turnaround experts, and we can put that team together and really, transform a business and get it back on track again. That's really interesting. I really love the outcome of that. But then I also like, actually, I am a people person. I enjoy building teams of people. So I enjoy being a care provider, because it's all people business. Whether you're, the fact you can transform somebody's life, the service user or the people using your service, you can genuinely, every business tries to make out that it'll change your life. Buy this product, buy that product, it'll change your life. But care actually does, genuinely, and marketing changes people's lives, and that is, I really enjoy that. And I enjoy putting together a really strong team and developing that team so that we deliver the best care possible. And we become the best in the area. I really enjoy both. So I enjoy both those sides, but for different reasons.
Yeah, and I guess the thing that most people are interested in is what you see the biggest challenges of people running businesses in the care sector right now or today.
As of today, anybody in the care sector will tell you this: it's recruitment. Recruitment is difficult across the UK economy for various reasons. Post-COVID, Brexit, all sorts of reasons. There is a shortage of staff across all areas. In the care sector, it's particularly relevant. I think there's something like, 1 million vacancies or something. It's something ridiculous. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. It's very, very difficult to recruit in the care sector. And that's the challenge everybody will tell you. It's something we've cracked. I can't crack it for the sector. I can't change the sector, but we don't have a problem recruiting. We've taken Tamar, our own, mine and your care company. We've taken that from 30 staff to just short of 70 staff in the place of a year. We don't have a problem recruiting, but we approach recruitment in a slightly different way. We also do it through the consultancy as well. And we don't have a problem with it. It was difficult at the start, but recruitment is absolutely it. I would say the second issue is the regulator, certainly the Care Quality Commission. Perhaps not so much the Care Inspectorate Wales or the Care Inspectorate in Scotland or the Northern Ireland Inspectorate. The CQC is going through an awful lot of changes right now, and they've got issues with resourcing, with being able to do it. I read somewhere that I read this today actually, that only of all the poor inspections that the providers take to appeals, only 2% of appeals are actually going in the favour of the provider. So 98% remain what the CQC says. And that brings up a challenge that if you get a poor inspection, that can really affect your business, and it costs a fortune to pay people like me to turn it round. It's far better that people actually be aware of that and don't get the poor inspection in the first place. And that's why we're finding mock inspections are becoming more common, because that's giving an insight and a benchmark from a third party to the business, so that people actually see how their business is performing before they find out from CQC, because it costs an awful lot to turn it around. But I would say that change that's happening, CQC are going through a change of how they actually regulate. They're undertaking a risk-based approach, and they've got an algorithm looking at that by remotely assessing risk, which I've read several articles recently suggesting the algorithm isn't working very well, that it doesn't work that well, and it's bringing up false reports, and so that is going to be an issue for providers. They really need to get on board with this. So everybody will say it's recruitment, but you need to get on with how the regulator is actually working now and your state of your business right now. I'd say those are the two big issues.
Yeah, obviously I don't have the experience in the care sector that you have, but the one thing that I sort of picked up is it's one of the very few businesses where you can have a financially healthy business, but you can be closed down by the regulator, right? So you can actually,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's, so you can have a fantastic Airbnb let out. You can have a coffee store. You can have a group of Costa coffee stores or whatever you have. If you're financially healthy, you're going to stay financially healthy.
Yeah.
However, if you don't have your systems in place, you have a really, really, big issue.
Yeah.
And what I can see in the small thing is the big companies get that, they have the systems in place, but the small operators are the people that sort of are more likely to become foul of the regulator.
Yeah, they'll trip up for different reasons. I mean, we've worked with some of the big operators, and they run into problems as well. If you're driven by investors, then the investors' expertise is in, like you say, in the profitability of the business, not necessarily in how it's performing from a care point of view, or actually seeing the risks that are coming down. Because what we've also seen happen is you might be operating a business that was rated as good by CQC, but CQC are always pushing the boundaries, and rightly so. If you're good here, CQC changes the goalposts and pushes the criteria up, which that improves the business. That really what they should be doing, and you can actually end up becoming inadequate or requires improvement from CQC, even though you were doing exactly the same as you were doing 5 years previously, because you haven't kept up to date. The boundaries have moved beyond you, and that's what, again, people need to be constantly on top of that. They can't just have it static, because the sector might move past you and leave you behind, and that's a real danger for people as well.
Yeah. So besides being Mr. Healthcare, you're also the CEO of our business, Tamar Healthcare, which I think we finally completed in June 2021. And it was a real pleasure for me. I think it was last April. I went down there and met all the staff for the first time. It was really, really very nice. And the thing that got me anyway was how much everybody cared. Right? They were much nicer people than me, for sure. Right? They were really, really caring. Somebody was looking after this person. Somebody had a relationship with somebody who had health problems. But they all really, really cared, and that was the thing that got me. And I think that was the thing about the particular business from the caring community, is that people do it for the right reasons. They're not necessarily like me trying to build a business empire or whatever. They just want to help somebody, right?
Yeah, and no matter what level you're at, whether you're an investor like you are, you are a remote investor that likes the sector and gets into it. But you're also canny enough to realize, actually, I understand this sector enough to know what I don't know. And I understand this sector enough to know that I need to partner with somebody that does know what they're doing from the regulator's point of view. And there's a lot of people that don't do that. And at all levels, either at the kind of level you're at, where you are buying a good quality existing business, or people who are starting up. And as you say, they're very, very caring, and the right people you want to look after your relatives. But they don't necessarily have the commercial acumen. So it works both ways. And the trick is to get it. You've got to. And it is sometimes, it's a tightrope, and you've got to constantly balance on that tightrope of being totally caring and totally focused on the service users, but also be a commercial business so that you're viable and you do make money out of it. And it's making a profit so it can survive and it can reinvest and it can make money for the investors, and if you get a return on it. The two things have got to work together. And one is not more important than the other. They've got to be hand in hand, and they have to be. And that's my job. That's where I walk that tightrope of making sure that the service users get the best care possible, and the shareholders get the best return possible. And you've got to have both those sides going, which are quite often in conflict. And that's the challenging but exciting part of the business as well.
Yeah. So for me, the two highlights in the short time we've owned Tamar together was probably winning the Langham Boosten Award. Yeah, and absolutely. Secondly, knowing what knowing what went on behind the scenes, getting the CQC inspection and getting the good rating. Out of interest, what would you say the highlights are of for you, because you're operating on a day-to-day basis?
I'd say those two I agree. It's because it cements what you've done. It's kind of a marker to say, you know, I mean, the Lang & Boosman one was amazing because I honestly didn't think we'd win that. You know, I can write a pretty good tender, so I thought we'd make it in, at least get an honourable mention or get into the final, so just by the way I can write things. But to win, because we beat all our competitors on that, were all national companies. We were the only single branch, non-VC backed, non-national provider. So we were up against the big guys. And Lang & Boosman's a serious organisation. It is the leading think tank and the leading market intelligence company for all of the health and care sector. And that's, you know, whether it be biomedical sciences, whether it be, it's the entire healthcare sector, private hospitals, everything. Lang & Boosman is the foremost market intelligence. So they're a very serious, you know, it's not some Mickey Mouse type award. This is a serious organization. So that was a really, really great, it was great for the staff as well, because it really, you know, validated what they'd done. I think the other thing that probably you haven't seen is the ability of the registered manager, our registered manager down there, Kelly, who now is able not to actually be in the office every single day if she doesn't want to be. So we've been setting up systems to manage it, to grow the business. You know, this is from a growth point of view, whereby we're developing that team in order that we can open other branches, that we can open second, third branches, and we're creating this team. And now we're at a point where we've got a team in place. And actually, we're about to do the second phase, you know, where these guys have freed their time up, that I can now give them other projects to do that aids in the expansion. You know, the next thing we'll do down in Plymouth is, we've just got on the contract for supported living, so we'll now open a supported living side of the business. And now the team have got the time and the ability to do that because they're not under day-to-day pressure, because we've built this up. So that's quite a big milestone that only really has happened at the start of this year. Kind of, you know, it's come together at the start of this year, you know. So that's quite a big thing for me, for me on the
when you see it close up. I mean, for me, Kelly's a superstar. I saw the interview she did on the BBC about recruitment. I just love the way when she says, we don't want anybody, we just want normal people that want to do something with their lives, right? We don't need rocket science. And I thought she did it. She handled it, you know. Brilliantly. And I guess the final thing really is the takeaways, right? What would you say the final takeaways are people, for people already in this sector of healthcare, already in it? What are the takeaways for them? And what are the takeaways of people actually thinking about getting into this, you know,
for people who are in it, I'll say that they will definitely say recruitment is difficult. And I would counter it and say, they will say that recruitment's hard and it's impossible. And it's the thing that's holding them back. I would actually disagree with them fundamentally and say you can recruit. You absolutely can. I can't solve the crisis for the entire sector, but the people that want to do it, they can grab all the care workers that are available in their area and others as well. If they want to open their mind and do it differently, it can be done. That's definitely a big takeaway. The secondly would be really think about how you look at your own business and seriously consider getting a third-party set of eyes on your business to review it, because the way that CQC are going now, I think there's going to be problems. I think there's going to be problems with CQC's new way of doing their appraisals, their new way of doing their assessments of the business, their new way of risk. I don't think it works that well, and you really need to know where you're at with your business. The takeaway would be for people getting into the sector is this is an exciting sector to be in. And a lot of people are interested in it because it's kind of recession proof. It's growing. It can't be done online. It can't be outsourced to China. You know, it's here. It's only ever a growing market. There's lots of opportunity. It's very exciting sector to be in. But if you're going to do it, get involved with somebody who actually knows what they're doing about the culture of it. Every business thinks it's different. The care sector really is different because you have that third party. In fact, you've got two of the kind of third parties. One is the CQC, or the regulator. Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland regulators have their own. You've got the regulator, but you've also got then the commissioner of local authorities, or the NHS as commissioners. And they also have their demands on it. You've got a monopoly commissioner. It's a political football that's being kicked around all the time. So don't just go into it thinking it's a good set to be in for the money. You've got to want to care. You've got to know it. You've got to partner with somebody who actually cares. You've got to partner with somebody who knows what they're doing. And you've got to actually care about the people you're doing it. If you don't, you'll fail. Simple as that. You'll fail. It's not for you. Don't get into it unless you actually, want to have a service that delivers the best care possible.
Yeah, care first, right?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
So thanks ever so much, Simon, for your time today. I've really, really appreciate it. And more importantly, I think anybody that watches the video will have, if they haven't learned anything, my first boss in the music business of all things always said, the day you stop learning is the day to give up, right?
Yeah,
but I
definitely.
think that, here, I mean, having just talking to you here, and I've known you for, since 2000.
A couple of years ago, yeah.
I've learned something new. So
right.
I hope everybody else learns something new. So
all right, excellent.
Thanks ever so much, Simon. Really much appreciated.
No problem at all. Cheers.
Thanks for watching the video, and please feel free to connect with me on my personal website, nickstewart.co. Really looking forward to hearing from you. Bye for now.